pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Zeitz,
Here.
Wolfgang,
Here.
Fitzpatrick, Campbell,
Here.
Place,
Present.
Blonsheim.
Here.
Kutra.
Here.
Public input. Approval of the agenda. I think Tracy has an
I
addition.
have an addition to the agenda for ARPA reporting funds. If we can add that as 14.
Do you have a resolution number?
Resolution number 2022-07.
Any other changes to the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda with the addition of the ARPA funds reporting. Resolution 2022-07.
It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda with the addition of item number 14, ARPA reporting fund resolution 2022-07. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm gonna say what Rob Henschel says. We have our agenda. Number 6, declaration of conflict of interest. Anybody have a conflict with anything on the agenda? Number 7, presentation special reports. Brad's at Garfield right now. As soon as he gets done there, he'll be here. Community police officer.
Good evening, the Blair Township Community Police Report for March 2022. My stats: arrests 1, citations 2, complaints 49, traffic crashes 5, warrants attained 7, declined 1. I only remember one incident talking to the city. They were robbed a couple years ago, late at night. We caught that guy, but they had some larcenies the other day on the 14th that were reported to me. And one was $162. She actually took a lot of other stuff, but that was the main thing. But her parole agent, she had absconded from parole because her boyfriend were on this drug binge. And I sent him a picture of her because I thought it was her. And he said he positively identified her. And they came back like 2 nights later to steal again. But I told the lady to call, and she did because they both had warrants, and they were arrested. And I searched her car the next day and found another item. Couldn't return it to the store though because it was open. On the 14th, a 7-year-old boy was run over in the trailer park by a minivan. Ooh, a young lady, or an elderly lady, actually ran him over while he was playing and running, and she just tossed him in her van and drove him home. Gave him to his mother, and she didn't call 911 either. Nobody called 911. And they ran over his whole arm and part of his abdomen. He had tire marks. But thankfully, he was not seriously injured at all, so tough little guy. His mom eventually took him to the walking clinic, but they said, we can't treat him here because we want a CAT scan, you have to go to the ER. And she said, I think he's fine, I'll just take him home. So we had to say, no, you have to take him to the ER, get a CAT scan. So, yeah, hopefully they call next time. Any questions?
Do you know what happened at Incredible Mo's last night?
No.
That's quick.
What's that? Well, what?
I was up there bowling and the manager said there were 5 cop cars in the parking lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see anything on the lawn, so.
Find out for him.
I'll look
Sheriff's
into it.
Department going
I'll check my
Hey,
email.
Matt, I'm curious with the, drug bust that happened a month ago in the township.
Yeah, I noticed he was back out, because I pulled him over yesterday.
Yeah, he's out on a
Yeah,
PR
sure.
bond, and I know this has nothing to do with you.
Mhm.
But do you have any insight as to why somebody would be released on a PR bond when they're charged with possession of 180 grams of meth, running a drug house, felony weapons, they found guns, smoke bombs? Why are courts, and I know this isn't you, and I don't know if you have any insight,
I
but
believe that he has never been arrested. That may be hard to believe, but I think he has never been convicted of a crime. So that might be part of it. And also, there was a guy that was staying there as well that took ownership of the majority of that. He was caught with a couple buys, like selling it. But the guy that was there, another guy that lives down the street and was living there, he took ownership of most of that meth.
yet his bond was $25,000 less than
Then the other
the
guy.
owner, the resident of the house, who
I'll double check, but I think he's never been in trouble.
find that hard to believe.
Never been caught till now.
Never been convicted.
Right.
He's certainly been arrested.
Yeah, that was frustrating because I looked and I pulled him over and I was like, "You ever get out here? You're not driving around." So,
I was just curious if you had any, I mean, that's a lot of drugs. That's,
yeah, and he told me he's not going anywhere. So,
Do you know who your new boss is yet?
Brandon Briggs.
Mm.
Any questions? I'll look into his record though.
yeah, that, I don't really care about his record. I was just curious as to that amount of methamphetamines, drug house, guns, everything, and
It's off on a PR bond.
they're out on PR bonds. And right back to where they were.
Mhm.
It doesn't make sense to me. Treasurer's report.
General fund, $4,594,688. Public safety fund, $1,230,477. Ambulance fund, $1,022,494. Metro Ag fund, $17,236. Liquor law enforcement fund is $35,097. Milk oil fund is $7,871. Sewer fund is $1,939,874. Water fund is $2,775,961. Current tax collection is $31,672. And payroll fund is $1,076 for a total of $11,656,444.55.
Any questions for Tracy?
Good, thanks, Tracy.
Announcements and correspondence. Water loss committee update.
There's not really much to report. We haven't really met since January. We're just waiting for the installation of all of these boxes. And I think they're gonna be next week, starting. I wanna say.
I think it's next week we're gonna start that.
So,
Has anything been done on, figuring out why?
no, we need to meet again, but
Figuring out why what?
that thing happened with the
Why
subdivision.
Randallwood didn't get bills in some other subdivisions.
Yeah, we need to meet again. I was on vacation and Dennis went on vacation, and Dennis has been working very hard on that.
Why don't you let the board know what happened?
Well, we talked about it at
Yeah.
the
Okay.
last meeting.
So when Dennis gets back, you guys are gonna set another
Yeah.
meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Easter egg hunt is Saturday.
Mhm.
We have approximately 1,500 eggs that have been stuffed with candy. We'll do another couple hundred tomorrow, or Thursday. I was out in the park, I got a bunch of garbage cleaned up today. Bellingers will be here this week to move the porta-john from here back out to that other entry area in the big parking lot. And clean and open up the handicap porta-john. We can't open up the bathrooms in the park because we can't have the water and the plumbing because our temperature isn't cooperating with us.
Got it.
Which I don't think we've ever had the bathrooms. We've never had the weather warm enough
No.
in April to be able to have those open, so.
You gotta wear snow boots?
Yeah. If you wanna help hide eggs, asking that you be here at about 8 o'clock. We'll plan on separating the eggs in bags. We'll have areas identified like we did not last year, 3 years ago.
Whenever our
we did it,
last
whenever
meeting
it
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for the littles here, middles in the middle, and older kids out back. I know Chief Parker and his kids will be here to help hide eggs. His kids are very excited about doing that again, and I think Dennis had a couple people.
Should be here 8.
Yeah, I'm thinking about 8, and we'll separate the eggs and
Yeah,
break
'cause
up.
one time we got here 2 early, I remember that.
Yeah, and it's hard because people are gonna start showing up at
Mhm.
Now we have to
9,
guard the
yeah.
eggs.
and well, that's true. We did.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Didn't we? In the
We had to guard them.
yes,
Yeah.
in the playground area.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I told Nicole earlier, I said, it's too bad we can't keep them out of the park
Yeah.
until 10, but
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
impossible.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, hopefully next year we'll do it up at the baseball park. The pit spitters came in huge for the golden egg. It's a golden baseball. So we're not hiding golden eggs, we're hiding golden baseballs. And all the baseballs will have numbers on it, and then there'll be a prize sheet and correlating prizes for the baseball that the kids find. The baseballs have all been decorated by the children at Blair Elementary School, a
Cool.
couple other local schools. I can't remember off the top of my head how many golden baseballs there are. I wanna say like 15, but the prizes are incredible. I mean, from t-shirts to 4 tabletop tickets and some drinks to throwing the first pitch to a party with
Oh, wow.
the mascot. I mean, they came in huge, so I'm grateful they'll be here. Hopefully Eric will arrive with the Easter Bunny and Monty in the fire truck.
Both of them?
Yeah. Adopt a Road, Vance Road cleanup. You guys see the dates. Keeping in mind that Township cleanup date is May 7th. But also keep in mind that Vance Road looks terrible with the garbage, so. It's everybody's thoughts with, I think a spring cleanup is important, just because it's so nasty. And we don't have to do it on a Saturday, we can do it whenever we want.
Well, the week of that week is MTA. the 25th through the 29th.
It looks like Saturday the 23rd.
Yeah, it's either the 23rd or the 30th. I have both open.
Let's shoot for the 23rd. The 30th, I don't care, but the following Saturday's Township Cleanup
Yeah.
Day. Of course, Mansfield Cleanup Day doesn't kill me like Township Cleanup Day does, so.
I just know if it's the 30th, I won't be able to help because Cindy and I have to be in the office that day because of the election.
Saturday?
They can do it on
Well, yeah, they can.
the for us.
Well, one of you has to be in the office, the other one of you could go out with us. But I say the 23rd, then you have to be here two Saturdays. 3.
Hey,
You're probably not gonna be swamped in your office on the
well,
30th.
no.
Yeah, so one of you has to be in the office. Does anybody else, does anybody wanna do it?
To do what?
Vance Road cleanup.
I'll drive a truck like I did last time.
Well, I don't want to, but I would.
Let's just do what we can on Saturday, April 23rd.
Okay.
What time?
23rd, you said?
Yeah. It's daylight at 6:30.
Well, I can be there, you can be there.
I don't care, 10 a.m.,
It's fine with me.
10?
10?
Yeah.
We could just do like a 10 to noon. We can just do what we can, see how far we get. I'll let the road commission know that that's the date we picked. We're supposed to watch that little video that's on their website. It's their safety video.
Yeah.
It's the same one that we've always had. Then you have to sign a little form that you watched it. Dennis completed his planning and zoning administrator, not administrator, that was Jerome did that one. This was a planning and zoning 2-day workshop. And he said it was great and he learned a whole lot of information and actually looks forward to applying it at the planning commission level and helping educate the planning commission. He highly recommended it to anybody who had any interest. I've been asked to be a panelist representing Northern Michigan in support of House Bill 4084, which is sponsored by State Senator Cynthia Johnson. I've been communicating with her representative from her office and told them straight up, I'm brand new, I've never been a panelist, I've never spoke on the behalf of a House bill, but pretty flattered that I was asked to represent Northern Michigan for illegal dumping and the blight bill that they're trying to pass through. Yeah, well, I'll just leave it at that until I do it and can report back, but this representative is from the Detroit area and I've learned that she's being somewhat blocked because some of the reps know that she has an issue in her area, in the Detroit area with blight, but don't think that blight and illegal dumping is a huge state issue. It's specific to the metropolitan areas. So I think that's why her representative from her office said he Googled illegal dumping in Northern Michigan and all of our stuff came up, Hoosier Valley and our township cleanup days and Boardman sweep and but I guess they spend like $5 million down in Detroit in the city for cleanup. The city, their budget for illegal dumping and blight. So when I spoke to this guy, I'm like, well, you know, township cleanup, we're like $45,000 and the rest we get about 100 volunteers to sweep the valley but anyways, so I acknowledged them today and committed to doing this.
That's
So
great.
We'll see how I do. And reminder, Township Cleanup Day is May 7th, 8 a.m. to noon. I know Jerome's been sending out that information with his zoning violation notices. And we will remember to get it out on the sign. After the Easter egg hunt, we'll get it on our Facebook page and the website.
Good friend of mine that him and I went around the last couple of times with my truck picking up. He says, "We gonna do that again?" I says, "You bet we are." So he's ready. I told him he's crazy, but he's ready.
Is there still, do you know if there's still trash on that power line?
Yep, and that's number one on our list. I did talk to Jerome though, and he said something, maybe we should take the tractor and the trailer over there. Load it up.
Be easier to take a couple people to lift it and throw it in than.
Yeah, well, we're gonna, that's gonna be our number one spot, is lift door, so. Yeah, it's still there.
Anything else?
Well, I have a couple things. One, in the newsletter, I have drug take back is April 23rd, but it's the 30th. I don't know where I got
From the year
23rd from.
before.
It could be.
Mhm.
So I will get that out.
April 30th?
It's April 30th, not the 23rd. And then Lynette sent around an email from Equalization. And so I always, I like graphs and charts and that. So if you read that and print this off, this is the graph that came out of it. And this is to say year over year, the change. And the top one for growth and taxable value is Blair Township.
Yeah, I see that.
That picture's worth 1,000 words. Paradise is a second, but we're still way above them by leaps and bounds. I thought that was pretty neat.
Go Blair Township.
Go Blair Township. Those are the two things I had.
Consent calendar. The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board may ask that any item in the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. I think I just read that correctly for the very first time. 4 years. I always add an extra word in there when I read it.
I don't have anything to pull, but under minutes, it says regular board meeting March 8th, and then the budget meeting minutes should include March 9th also. March 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 30th.
We didn't have it on the ninth. Which one? Oh,
We
the
didn't have it on the
23rd.
23rd.
Okay. Anything else?
I would move to approve the consent calendar with correction.
It's been moved and supported to approve the consent calendar with correction, which is to add the March 9th budget meeting. Roll call.
Please,
Yes.
Sights,
Yes,
Kuchera,
Yes,
Flanschein,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Number 11, new business. Number 1, dangerous building hearing.
You gonna go to Brad or you gonna go?
Brad? Whatever you wanna do.
Come on, Brad.
Good evening, everyone. Brad Jewett from Charles County Board of Commissioners. Finally starting to feel like spring out there, so I'm thankful for that. Our agendas have been quite light lately, but I do have just a couple things here. Last week there, our finance department received a Excellence Finance Award again through their annual audit, 16 years in a row. And it's quite an accomplishment. It sounds like a lot of governments don't ever see that award and everything. So just a shout out to our dean and his staff there in their award of excellence. Today we had a meeting and we approved the 2022 annual equalization report. And the numbers are actually quite interesting and quite astounding actually. And stuff. Have you seen that yet?
I printed off the one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's yeah. We'll see how things go in the future with that. But next Tuesday, the 19th, we have a strategic planning session. And they did send us a menu today to order sandwiches, so I'm thinking it's going to be an all-day event. But if you guys do have any free time next Tuesday, in the chambers at 8 a.m. it starts, and you're interested, come on down and listen to our strategic planning.
That's all of you, all the commissioners
Yeah.
and
Yep,
finance, and
administration.
everybody?
Yep. And then we're also in the progress right now, we want to try and have our next year's budget approved by July 1st. And I know that's early, but with us switching over with computer systems and everything, they want to have it all entered before it makes a switch, so it switches easily, I guess, so. During that, that's all I have. You guys have any questions or comments for me this evening? Wow. Okay, well, like always, my contact information's on the website, and I think most of you have it anyway, but if there's anything I can do or anything I can answer, please feel free to reach out. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
You
you.
got my email too.
I responded.
I know, you did.
I always forget to email Brad our agenda, so he always has to call me. And today I said, Brad, just send me an email and say, why do you always forget me? So he did.
Just so you know, she never answered me the first time I called.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big surprise.
Yeah.
Probably because she don't know where her phone is.
Well, did you call my desk first and I didn't answer and then you called my cell?
No, I did this first.
You didn't or you didn't?
No, I didn't.
Oh. Yeah, okay. On to new business. Dangerous building hearing. This is regarding 1627 East Brentwood. Don't see anybody here. Did everybody have a chance to read the hearing officer's judgment? We had the first hearing in February. This individual was sent all of the proper notifications, signed for the letter, the certified letter that was mailed. And she didn't show up for the hearing. This is the second round of hearings we've had for this individual structure. We did the first dangerous building, we declared it a dangerous building in 2017, I think it was. Nothing has happened except it has deteriorated even more, but because of the time lapse, we just started the process over. So, per our dangerous building ordinance and the timeline, this is considered the second hearing, which was her opportunity to appear in front of us as a legislative body in regards to our hearing officer's determination that this is indeed a dangerous building and it needs to be brought into compliance or demolished. So she has a few more minutes to show up and explain to us what she's gonna do. Our next step, if she doesn't show up, we'll send her notice if we agree that this is a dangerous building and are in agreement with our hearing officers and our ordinance enforcement officers' opinions. she'll receive notification that we're in concurrence with her. She'll have 20 days to actually file an appeal of our decision with the court. We legally, technically don't have to advise her of that, but I think we should. I think it would be the appropriate thing to do. She's not lived in this house for over 15 years. She lives in town. And I'm gonna say that she's not going to show up. She was given notice that the meeting started at 6 o'clock, so I would say giving her 30 minutes is fair.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make a motion that we are, concur with our dangerous building hearing officer and our ordinance enforcement officer in regards to 1627 East Brentwood, and declare this indeed a dangerous building that needs to be brought into compliance or demolished per our dangerous building ordinance.
I support.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fleece,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Zeit,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Blanchard.
Yes. So I'll turn this back over to Matt Jerome. Number 2, road name approval for Silver Lake Storage Barns.
I would make a motion to approve the name Storage Loop Drive for the storage barn, the Silver Lake building condominiums, based on the assessor's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the road name for the Silver Lake Storage Barn condominium units of Storage Loop Drive. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 3, water and sewer repair and replacement accounts.
Nicole and, well, Dennis actually, and Nicole have been working on the capital improvement plan, and I've been entering it into our Munetric software, and like EMS and fire have vehicle replacement account, separate accounts, and capital improvement separate accounts. And I believe our water and sewer ordinance states that we should have repair and replacement accounts for water and sewer. And we're finding that all this stuff that
We have
needs to be
A lot
done.
of repair and maintenance
Yeah.
costs.
Yeah.
So I think it would be wise to open a repair and replacement account for the water and for the sewer and put some money into them.
I think we have them opened already.
You do?
I think through Chase, we have repair and replacement. I don't know that they're separate. I think it's just water. But I think.
So we don't get a statement because there's no money in them?
Right,
Okay.
right. I don't pull statements because they're just
Yeah.
zero balance, but we have them to use.
It might have been
From,
from when we had the bonds.
Right.
The-
yeah, I think we
the-
had to have so
the-
much in there.
Yeah, what was that called?
USDA,
Rural
yeah.
development,
Mhm.
yeah. Or as,
Farmer's home.
yes. John X calls
Yeah.
it farmer's home. All right, so then we would just need one for sewer,
Yeah, I have 3 open, so we can,
change one to sewer. Okay, then how much,
we just need GLs.
okay? How much money then do you think, does everybody think we should?
A million in each?
Yeah, really.
10,000 and 10,000?
Just to start. I would say 100.
I would too. 100,000,
In each?
Mm-hmm,
just from, you know,
Probably.
the operations.
mm-hmm. And they have it to put in there. so-
Yeah. All right, so I guess I'll make I'll make a motion to create GL numbers for, repair and replacement accounts for water and sewer, and have the treasurer transfer $100,000 from each operating account to the repair and replacement accounts.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to create GL numbers for water and sewer repair and replacement accounts and have the treasurer place $100,000 in each account. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Campbell,
Yes.
Zeitz,
Yes.
Please,
Yes.
Blondstein,
Yes.
Kutra,
Yes,
Wolfgang.
Yes.
Number 4, formation of water and sewer committee.
This was brought up a couple of meetings ago, and I think it's a good idea. We used to have, I mean, this was back when Pat Paul was still here and Marty was here. But I would like to see it happen again with everything we have going on with water and sewer. And it shouldn't all, I don't think all that should fall just on Nicole, like when there's a problem. You know, she's gonna be the one to sign any contracts or anything, but, I think that would take some stress off her. And I think it should probably be the same people that are on the water loss committee and possibly our township engineer. What do you think? And like meet on a monthly basis.
And water loss committee members, do you have any input?
I'm thinking.
I think it'd be a great idea. Dennis, I had messaged Dennis, he said he'd be elated to be on the committee. And you're right, it would be a great idea. If you want me to make a motion, I will.
Do we
Go ahead.
have to pay
Yeah.
Sosa?
Well-
Yeah, we would definitely,
Would it be Brian or?
no, it would be Ken.
I just don't know if we would need him every month or if
Well,
we
that's what
should.
I was thinking, maybe
we
only
should.
as needed.
Yeah,
So on the water loss committee, there's you, Carl, Dennis, Patrick,
yeah, and Lisa.
Lisa. Oh, she's gonna love this, another meeting.
Yeah.
And Ryan Norman shows up.
Well, we could abolish the water loss committee.
Right.
And
Yes,
they
And
could
just
incorporate this into a water sewer committee.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, they haven't met since January, but there's major stuff going on right now.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the communication is just everywhere. There's no rhyme or reason or consistency, and people aren't on the same page, and so we need to reel in, group up, prioritize, have an agenda. This is,
I agree.
we came in today and the first employees were told was, Township's gonna be out of water tomorrow all day. We're cleaning the clear well and putting new pipes in, so the water's gonna be shut off. So when I get here, the employees are upset, they knew nothing about it, I knew nothing about it.
Mm.
It's like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of maintenance stuff, a lot of repair stuff, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we're responsible. We need to know what is going on. We cannot be allowing employees just call the shots and ordering parts, and we need to, we're all responsible for this. We all need to understand it,
Mhm.
and we need to be on the same page and be aware of what's going on. I think a water committee would be good. I personally think it would be good to have a citizen part of this committee. I personally think Carl Behringer would be an asset to this committee. He's got knowledge, he worked here, he helped install half this water system. I know when Patrick has had curb stop questions, any type of question that Patrick's not aware of, he has Carl on speed dial. I think he could be a huge asset. And if not Carl, somebody, I think a person, a resident should be, that's just my opinion.
Carl would be a good one to have on there because he has a lot of background.
He has been able to answer a lot of questions as to why.
Yeah.
Something was done.
Yes, yes.
Or why wasn't something done.
So if we do that though, and I mean, I'm not against it, I just, for compensation, would we compensate them
Yeah.
for?
My opinion is just ask him if he would like to be involved. As a layperson, as a volunteer, I'm not looking to hire him.
Well, I know, I'm just
Yes.
saying, I'm just thinking out loud as to, do we wanna compensate for that?
Somebody wants to be, right, help the community and all that, and, I don't, if you have to compensate them.
I guess I'd say.
Because I think I would like to do more, but not be
on
compensated,
it. See what he says.
I mean, I do have him set up as a independent contractor in the council.
But I don't wanna be subcontracting Carl for his opinion.
Well, I know, I'm just, and I only say it because everybody else on there is compensated. If we have an engineer come, there be compensated, I can ask him, I don't have a problem asking, I just wanna know what other people feel if he comes back and says, what's the compensation?
That can be brought
Do
up
I
later.
say
It's volunteer, Carl.
coffee?
Right,
Cup
yes.
of coffee?
You get to see Nicole's smiling face.
Yeah.
It's an input committee. We don't compensate our Parks and Rec. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, again, we're not subcontracting him for his,
Yeah.
which we have done. We had to hire Carl last spring for the splash pad, and when we do that, we compensate him. And maybe he'll say no.
Yeah. You don't know
Cause he's
unless you
busy.
ask.
Right.
You gonna make a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion to do a formation of a water and sewer committee, existing of the same people in the water laws, and plus with Carl too. And meet when needed? Not
No,
monthly?
monthly.
Huh?
Monthly.
Monthly.
Monthly, you want monthly? Okay, and meet monthly.
And the township engineer as needed.
Huh?
And have the township engineer at the meetings as needed.
Yes. Okay, add that.
I would support that.
Any further discussion? Did you get that, Wixel, or do you want me to repeat it? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? General fund budget amendment.
Okay, so there were certain rules of how you had to receipt the ARPA funds in depending on if you'd received it and if you already committed any of it. So ours has been sitting in unearned income. But we ordered the sign and we had to put half down. So we now need to get that money into the operating budget. So we need to increase the other federal grants revenue line item by $15,577, and then increase the town hall and grounds capital outlay expenditure line item by $15,577. I guess that was a motion.
I support it.
It's been moved and supported to increase the other federal grants revenue line item by $15,577, and to increase the town hall capital outlay expenditure line by $15,577. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Zients,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fleischheim,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Leaf.
Yes.
Item 6, PEG fund budget amendment.
At the March 9th budget meeting, we talked about closing the PEG fund and moving that money into the general fund to pay Andy. And so Tracy has transferred the money, but now we need to amend the budget again. And we need to increase the transfer in from PEG by $702.38 and increase the transfer out by $702.38.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to increase the transfer in from PEG by $702.38 and to increase the transfer out by $702.38. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Leaf,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Zients,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fleischheim,
Yes.
Wolfgang.
Yes.
Item 7, approve billing clerk, administrative assistant, job description.
So when we started our in-house billing, we really didn't know what was involved, how long it was gonna take. So that's developing, it's to the point where we should have a job description for it, for that position, no matter who's there, part-time, full-time.
I thought you did a nice job on this job description.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Except there's one suggestion I have. It says here in this that we're also doing the billing for Long Lake Fire and Rescue. That should be in the job description, that she would be doing billing for other departments, so that when it gets sprung on her, she doesn't go, I don't have to do that.
Good idea.
Really good idea, Marilyn.
Yeah.
In HIPAA's two different ways in here, which,
Did I change it?
what is correct?
HIPAA.
So the first one's incorrect.
Where's the second one, Trace? I'm trying to find it.
It's the third bullet down
Oh,
under
yeah.
specific.
Yeah.
So is it ICD 10? No.
What?
ICD 10 codes? Isn't that what they're using?
That's what the coding that they submit for submission on the invoices.
I would move to approve the billing clerk / administrative assistant job description with the addition of billing for other agencies.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the billing clerk administrative assistant job description. Including adding billing for other agencies. And your HIPAA typo. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approval of full-time billing clerk administrative assistant.
So it's developed quite a bit. We have a lot of agencies interested in us performing the billing rather than a big, large, out-of-state billing company. Not interested in being a big billing company, but we have other area agencies involved. Kim came on part-time to help get it up and running, and she's committed to doing that. She's done that. We're moving along. Something that I underestimated was the time involved in the hassle of switching Medicare and other accounts from our previous agency into our own accounts. To give you an example, we had to submit a letter from Chase Bank saying, recognizing that we had accounts with them. And the letter from Chase Bank said, the Township of Blair. Well, that application got denied. We had to remove the from in front of Township of Blair. That's how finicky they are. So we're approved now, let's move on, but that's just one example
I think it took 5 times.
of, yeah, that's,
It was rejected 5 times because of a typo or a wrong date or signature in the wrong,
yeah. We're submitting Medicaid submissions off my colored printer because they printed the red boxes. Everything has to be perfectly aligned. They denied the paper claims because it was the wrong tint of red.
Yeah.
So,
It's true.
right. Another full-time job.
They're just about as bad as government.
Right. So, as a part-time, what we
Yeah.
Yeah. What am I thinking?
talk about as a part-time employee, it's a lot of work, a lot of time, Kim's overloaded. She's not interested in doing this part-time for a long term. she'll work with us as long as we need to, whether it's her or somebody else doing it, she'll stay and train them. But I really think, and from what we've seen, and Wendy's been helping, Wendy's been doing the fire billing portion of it, that it's time that we make a full-time position out of this.
Yeah, there's still a lot that's not getting done every month.
Yeah, and I think it's important that you let us know that Kim took this on as part-time because she works full-time doing billing for Kalkaska.
Currently, yes.
Currently, that's her full-time position, so she's doing full-time there and then part-time, which is why she came on part-time here.
Yeah.
And why she's feeling extra overloaded, because her part-time hours just aren't enough hours to get it done here, but she doesn't wanna work 80 hours a week.
Mhm.
And when we started all this, keep in mind, it was Northlight, and all of Northlight management, all of the Northlight billing department was on board with helping us. And the NMR merger just completely threw a big loop into that.
When you said, Kim is currently working full-time, does that mean you think she'd come here?
I know she has interest in working here full-time. She's been within the Munson system for well over 20 years, so I know she likes this atmosphere. She's done numerous, I like her because she's not afraid to step outside the box and help out with other areas. She's cleaned the bathroom, she slept Easter eggs, she even did some filing for me, helped me clean up my office. So,
Thank God.
I know, right? So, I don't know,
Yeah,
but I know that position needs to be a full-time position. She has interest, I hope, but I don't know if we can meet what she has.
She'd be willing to help train somebody?
Yes, she's gave her verbal that she will stay as long as she needs part-time to help train somebody into that position.
so you're looking for a motion to approve hiring someone. Do you have a recommended wage?
I have $20 to $25 based on experience in that.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve hiring a full-time billing clerk / administrative assistant. At a starting wage of $20 to $25 an hour based on experience.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve a full-time billing clerk / administrative assistant with a starting wage of $20 to $25 an hour to start based on experience. Any further discussion?
Yep. Can we offer it to her and if she takes it, or do we have to put this up?
Well, our policy says we're supposed to post it now. What were you saying?
She's already here part-time.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with, I mean, yeah, one less thing I have to do.
I don't have our policy book right in front of me, but I thought we talked about that when we changed all of the policies, and that if there was somebody already hired internally
I think so.
that
It
we
may
could
say,
promote or advance
Okay.
yeah,
without having to post it, because that was one of the things we looked at before. And again, I don't have my policy book right in front of me, so I can't say for sure, but I feel like we addressed that because we've talked about this
do you want me
before.
to go get on, or, I mean,
later.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, well, yeah,
What's your top end though, because you said your starting wage is $20.25. Is there a top end?
$20 to $25 an hour, based on
That's not how
experience.
motion reads. Motion reads starting wage based on experience, $20.25. Is there a top end?
Well,
Have they been here for a while?
Oh, no.
No, because
We
we
don't
do
need-
annual
yeah,
at budget time.
the county's like that, isn't there, that once you get to a certain point, you're not gonna make any more.
Right, besides the cost of living increase.
I agree with that. I just had a discussion with one of our employees to do figure out a formula, incremental formula for our part-time people based on years of service, hours worked and everything.
Let's
Oh, yeah.
stay back to
Okay.
this, what, that we have. We've got a motion and support. We'll look at the policy book. If the policy says we can promote internally,
Even if we have to post it, she can just apply right away,
yeah.
you know.
So it's been moved and supported to approve hiring a full-time billing clerk, administrative assistant position with the starting wage of $20 to $25 an hour to start based on experience. That was our motion and support. Roll call?
Kuchera,
Yes,
Wolfgang,
Yes,
Please,
Yes,
Glenshine,
Yes.
Zeitz,
Yes,
Campbell.
Yes.
Number 9, approval of the new contract with Grant Township.
So we've been working with our contractual townships, neighboring townships, to bring what they pay us up to a closer level of what our residents pay. So this is another step increase, the 2-year agreement, because they're gonna have to go out for a millage increase in 2024. So this is just an incremental step to get us closer up to that level.
I make the motion to approve the new contract with Grant Township as presented.
support.
Any further discussion? As always, I would thank you, Eric, for all of your work with these contracts and with the relationship of these neighboring small townships. And I think it's a fair contract. We service that township quite a bit, and it's not fair to our taxpayers to have been, flipping the bill basically for that. So I truly, and I know I can speak on behalf of the township residents and say thank you for your time, effort, energy, and recognizing that.
Thank you.
thanks, Eric.
yeah, good job.
Roll call?
Wolfgang,
Yes,
Kuchera,
yes,
Please,
Yes,
Campbell,
Yes.
Zeitz,
Yes,
Glenshine.
Yes. Item 10, approved Township of Blair Resolution 2022-05 to apply for power plan grant funding. I asked Lynette to whip these babies up because the power plan grant application is opening. We missed the last, let's see, the
Cycle.
spring, last winter. Nobody applied and it's easy money. So, I'm just asking for approval. I'm not sure yet. I don't have quotes in on a generator and I don't have quotes in yet on a sewer camera. But one or the other, I'm going to apply for. But we have to have a township resolution, and I didn't want to wait until our next meeting when I had the quotes in, because then we would miss the grant period again.
I would move to adopt resolution number 2022-05 to apply for funding from Michigan Township
Just say power plan grant.
power plan
Support.
for a generator for the elevated water storage tank.
It's been moved and supported to approve Township of Blair Resolution 2022-05 to apply for the Michigan Park Plan grant funding for a generator for the elevated storage tank. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Campbell,
Yes.
Zeitz,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Place,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Kuchar.
Yes.
Item 11, approve Township of Blair Resolution 2022-06, apply for Michigan Park Plan grant funding for a sewer camera.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2022-06 for the power plan grant funding for sewer camera.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Township of Blair Resolution 2022-06 to apply for the Michigan Park Plan grant funding for a sewer camera. Roll call.
Place,
Yes.
Zeitz,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Kuchar,
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
I'll let you know next month what I applied for. Item 12, declare emergency services laptop, computer, and docking stations surplus.
They're junk and they're in a drawer.
I'll make a motion to declare emergency services laptop, computer, and docking station surplus.
Support. It's been moved and supported to declare emergency services laptop, computer, and docking station in surplus. All in
And
favor?
destroy it.
And
I think we should say what we're gonna do with it, yeah, and destroy it.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I think he wrote that in there, so. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 13. Declare one Gravely ProMaster 20H with Kohler Magnum 20 motor and 50-inch Gravely mowing deck as surplus, as well as one Honda Cut push mower with bag. This is that grasshopper looking mower that's old, hasn't run forever. I know years ago, 4 years ago at least, the mechanics at Lark Lawn and Garden said we can't take it in on trade because it has no value to us, and the repairs and maintenance on it really isn't a valuable, wise way to spend your money. So it's just been sitting there. Pioneer Diesel had came and looked at it and they concurred. They wouldn't take it in on trade towards the tractor, and that, so it's taking up space. It's been taking up space.
For a long time.
What are we gonna do with it? Can it go to
Grandpa's
scratch? Or,
Yeah, Eric suggested just putting a notice on the website of
free as is?
$50 minimum bid, or
I have a gentleman, Patty B, one of my friends of my kids that's trying to do lawn care. Bless his heart, he puts all his effort into it, but he just keeps working hard year to year. I was gonna buy it and donate it, give it to him. So I was gonna bid on it. If you put it on the website.
and just put it out for bid. Just put a minimum bid on it.
Put them in bid.
How much?
$50. $50.
Alright.
For all.
Yeah, is that for everything here, including the push mower?
Sure, the push mower doesn't run, so sure. Maybe the bag is stuck in it, I don't know. Yeah,
Take one, you gotta take them both.
I'll move to
Yeah.
Get over to Grandpa's and get
Up.
yeah.
approve declaring the Gravely ProMaster 20H with Kohler Magnum 20 motor and mowing deck and a Honda cut push mower with bag as surplus. And
And this was actually recommended by our maintenance department.
taking bids starting at with a minimum bid of $50.
How long are you gonna have the bids out there for?
12 minutes.
Yeah.
Till the first one was in.
Yeah.
Right. Gone.
Right. Yeah, a week,
Yeah.
3 days?
24 hours.
If you're reading that way,
Let's do a week.
it's gotta move it along.
Right, exactly. I
3
know.
days,
Just
72 hours.
is 3 days appropriate?
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
days.
It's your option.
That is.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Oh, I don't know.
Who seconded that?
I did.
He did.
Brad did.
Brad did.
Item 14, ARPA reporting funds, resolution 2022-07.
Okay, I asked Lynette to quick whip this up this afternoon. We have to start reporting by April 30th, 2022. Most of the entities that I'm seeing is just putting it all under revenue loss. And that, because anybody that's less than 10 million can claim it under lost revenue. And it's a lot easier reporting, you just do it the one time for each payment, is what I'm understanding. So I just want approval from the board through resolution to go ahead and report our $477,738.76 for revenue loss in the treasurer's portal.
That's your motion.
No.
I move to approve, to adopt resolution 2022-07 to adopt the ARPA revenue loss standard allowance.
It's been moved and supported to adopt resolution 2022-07. The resolution to adopt the ARPA revenue loss standard allowance. Further discussion, I'm gonna be honest, we just got this, so I wanna read it really quick before I vote on it.
Have you been on the reporting website, Tracy?
I'm trying to get on.
Because I've been seeing the talk on the MTA thing that people are having all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, I'm having troubles getting
Doesn't-
on.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I know. I thought if I can't get on tomorrow, I'm gonna try ID.me.
What the heck is that?
That's where you have to show like a copy of your passport and get personally invited by the government.
Really?
Yeah. Have you been on there yet?
No,
No? You better get on.
I mean, no.
Yeah. You can go into through login.gov but I'm not having success.
I just have a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that for the standard allowance revenue loss is $10 million. We were allocated. If we put this in as lost revenue,
Mm-hmm.
to get that, and I get it easier, would we still be able to spend some of these dollars to address the systemic public health, or if we're putting them in as lost revenue into this account, would we be able to put a new porch on somebody's house, or a handicap ramp, or a new roof? or a new furnace, which we can do legally and technically with ARPA dollars. Part of this ARPA funding is,
That's a very good
Once you
question.
put it into that account, the way we understand it, you can spend it on anything you want.
As long as it's a legal expenditure.
correct,
I mean,
Right,
but
but,
we can't spend,
right,
Right,
Townships can't spend money on a residence
No.
individual house.
Yeah, but anything that you claim that you've lost revenue, I mean, how you lost revenue, so you had revenue that could not go to whatever you wanted to do. The way we were explaining, so that you could spend it however you want, it frees it up totally.
I get that, but you didn't put it into all lost revenue.
No, the portion that you put in the lost revenue is what you can spend however you want.
For township business, but you can't to,
Can't take free
I
money
think
back from it.
you guys are getting 18.2 million, so this is the way I understand it. You're taking the $10,000 or $10 million revenue loss, but then that other 8.2 million, you could use
Right.
for something,
right, you can give us $1 million.
yeah.
Nice try.
And,
Yeah, the extra, our additional 8 million, we gotta follow the parameters of what can be spent, but the 10 million is freed up to spend basically however we want.
To spend however you want legally on county expenditures, and legally
Right.
you couldn't put a roof on somebody's house.
or pay for a dangerous building.
Yeah, but you can, we'll talk off record.
So
Yeah,
that's my concern with this. I don't want, for me, I don't know. And-
Yeah,
and I
I'll
would
have to
hate
ask
to
that
do that.
question. I'll have to email Catherine
I mean, I get,
tomorrow.
I totally get that it's legal, that we claim it as lost revenue.
Right.
My
Yeah.
concern would be,
If we do that, then
correct,
what can we spend it
Correct.
on what they said to begin with? Right, I get that.
So, do we wanna hold off?
can we
on that?
table this, Trace, for a little more?
We can, but I have to report something by the 30th of April, so if we table it, then we'll just have to report what we spent and not do the lost revenue.
And I don't know if you know this,
Mm-hmm.
because really the only thing we'll have spent by April 30th is the down payment on the signs and the water meters. So could we report that, and then on the next
Yeah.
report whatever's left
I'll have
as
to look,
revenue loss?
yeah, I'll have to try to get into it tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. Cause I know like when I used, was it Springdale that I used as
Some Springfield or something.
as an example, and what they had on the bottom of theirs is then they had it broken out as to what they were gonna use that, like 600,000 to a fire truck, or 40,000 to water. They had, and I said, we didn't know that, so we didn't really have to break it out. They just did it because they already knew how much they were gonna allocate to each department.
Which is rule number 1 that we, in all of our trainings, have said, don't spend all your money,
Right,
hold off.
right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
a
have
very
a,
good
we have a
question.
motion and we have support.
But, yeah, that's a really good question. I wouldn't want to put all of our eggs in that basket
Right.
if, I mean, can we make the motion that says that if we're allowed to spend it,
I would be fine with that if we
still can use
would
it
be,
for?
yes, if we
community.
declared it as lost revenue and put it in that account, if we would still be able to address, if voted on and need be,
Community
for
needs.
community systemic public health.
Yeah.
And economic challenges. met by our constituents. Which is basically what it says in the resolution.
I'll amend my motion to what she said. How do you like it now?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put it in there if we couldn't use it that way. And I can email MTA in the morning and say,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, the way this reads is just weird. Being able to do this. Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
You ready, Russell?
Mhm.
Roll call?
Kuchera,
Yes.
Blondshine,
Yes.
Sights,
Yeah,
Campbell,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Place.
Yes.
I keep stealing them all.
Any extended public input?
I got maple syrup, anybody's,
Seeing none, we are adjourned.